How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today is a very special day because I get to drive the cheapest and perhaps the best looking Porsche 911 in the country. So if you guys are new to my channel, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys like it. And if you like what you see, consider subscribing. This thing behind me is one of the nicest shapes I've ever seen from a car. This is a Porsche 993. It is a 1995 Porsche 911, and it has a RS kit. Now, this is not a Carrera RS. This is just a Carrera 2, which means that it has two-wheel drive in the back, and well, it's just a regular Porsche 911. But somebody has taken this car and made it into sort of a tribute car. You can see the wheels are aftermarket. It has the nice body lines of the Carrera RS, and it even has the RS badging here, which if you don't know much about these, or you know just enough to get yourself into trouble, this would be a really good doppelganger. But the reason why I'm driving this car is because this is actually the cheapest example in the country, at least the cheapest example with a manual transmission, and the cheapest example without a cabrio roof. The cabrio was not as good as the hardtop. Unfortunately, I did not buy this car, even though I really would have bought this car in a heartbeat. The person who bought this car is this guy, Mr. Ed Bolian, Mr. VinWiki himself. So this is Ed's car. He actually bought it on the internet, and this was, at the time, the cheapest 911, at least the cheapest 993 in this shape in the country. So if we can go over a few of the things that makes this car really interesting, but even before that, I'd like to go over how you got the car so cheaply and how much did you pay for it?
I got it for 35 grand, and it seems to be worth about 55 to 60 grand based on the calls that I've gotten since then. But it was being sold by a guy on Renlist, a really popular Porsche message board that is obviously frequented by myself and a lot of friends. And a friend of mine sent me this car and said, you need to call and wire money on it, because he knows I like cars with a little bit of a story. And what had happened was, in 2009, the previous owner of the car had spun it on a track and backed into a tire wall pretty lightly, but it required some paint work, and State Farm, since it was a non-timed event, paid out the claim. But in 2013, Carfax reinterpreted a lot of accident data from the mid-2000s, including this claim, and they decided that the car had been totaled, even though it wasn't. And this kind of scared the seller into selling it too cheap. So he listed it for 35 grand, and I was the first of, I think, 17 people within 12 hours to say, I'll take it at your asking price with no PPI. And a very honorable guy, he sold it to me for that.
That's usually how you know a car is priced right, when you have 17 people calling you and saying, I will pay your asking price even more. But okay, so where was this guy located?
He was in the southern tip of Indiana. So we drove up the next day and brought it home. And he was a very conscientious owner, had everything documented. And this is one of the things we really like at VinWiki, is the ability to really capture all the moments in a car's history, put them on a timeline, and clarify things that are fundamentally incorrect, like in this case, the Carfax. So we've been using that data to go, and we've talked to Carfax, and I think they're going to turn it around for me, so that'll help the value.
Awesome. I wonder if Carfax will turn around my Lambo's fire damage. I don't think they will. But I'd like to take a little bit of a look at this car. I mean, the body kit is not what you'd call stock. It's not stock at all, right? This is the RS. What is the difference between the RS kit and something like a Carrera 2?
So obviously the front valence is a bit lower, as are the side skirts and the rear spoiler. And most of the interior has been redone. So it's got a no airbag steering wheel and RS door cards and rear seat delete, different carpet kits and stuff like that. So everything is as I got it. So he went through the car extensively and did some track driving in it, but just kind of turned it into a great driving car. I mean, obviously all the air-cooled 911s have really appreciated a lot lately, but you know, some of them can be kind of boring looking cars, and they're great to drive. They're very pleasant, very simple, very mechanical feeling, but at the end of the day, they can kind of be a little bit underwhelming stylistically, if, you know, for your cars and coffee crowd. So additionally, some power mods probably take this one up to more like 270 wheel horsepower rather than the 270 crank horsepower it would have had from the 3.6 from the factory. And
so what have you done as far as power mods?
It's got just your normal intake, exhaust, header delete, it does not have the headers deleted. Heater delete.
It has the header. Let's just pretend it has a header delete. Yeah. Can we actually look at the engine? I'd love to see what an air-cooled 3.6 liter flat six looks like. All right, that is an engine there.
A little more access than you get from the newer ones that are more mid-engine.
Oh yeah, the newer ones, it's like you get this little access point, and like, so you have distributor there. It's actually very simple. You have this for the air distribution system. That's what cools the engine, which is really cool. I mean, for those of you who don't know, who are really out of the loop on Porsches, these are air-cooled engines instead of a regular, well, any other car like that or that. Those would be water-cooled where they have a radiator. This has no radiator, and it just takes all its cooling from the air itself. And that gets, well, the air gets pumped in through here, and you can see that there's huge vents right here. You can you can see right through them. So it actually does a really good job, and they even put these on turbocharged engines, and those are for the obviously the turbocharged model of this car. But there's a lot of space in here. I actually am very surprised at how big this engine bay really is. Now, I can't really see the headers because they're actually on the bottom of the car. It does seem like it's quite a short path from the engine to the tailpipe there. These things were known in the day as widowmakers, but I'm not sure if that is necessarily the case anymore.
Right, obviously they were very powerful relative to a lot of the other sports cars of their time, and tire technology not being what it is today, it was not uncommon for them to spin around, and this was really the generation after most of the lawsuits that you heard of widows filing suits against Porsche for wrongful death of their husbands. But it's not a very well balanced car, obviously, but it's got a great steering feel and really nice to drive. Not
like these cars. Like these cars are very much modified for a cross-country run. This is not modified in that way in the slightest. I mean, this is more for a road race type application. This is just for like a canyon carving thing.
Exactly.
Okay. So what do we have here? We have, this is not the stock steering wheel, correct?
No, that's the RS steering wheel, RS short shifter, RS door panels, RS carpet kits. So mostly just cosmetic stuff that would lighten it up a little bit. The steering wheel's a little thicker. Some of those older German steering wheels were a little bit unpleasant.
Oh yeah.
But overall, you know, it'd be, if it was a true RS, it wouldn't have a sunroof, and it would have had a 3.8 if it was an actual RS, and it'd be worth 500 grand, and you couldn't bring it into the US for 2 more years. But
well, here's what you do. You go to Cars and Coffee, you say you got a very rare RS with the sunroof, and you got it in the US under show and display because you know Bill Gates.
Obviously.
Yes, so that's the play there. So I would love to take this for a drive. So
be my guest.
Awesome. Oh yeah, that is just the best sound. Oh, it's so solid. Okay, this is like the first time I've ever driven a 993. Okay. Oh, I forgot the key is in here. Key to the right. Oh yes. Starts right up on the button. Okay, I have to move the seat up because I am not a giant like you are. So one thing right off the bat is that the pedal box is very much towards the center of the car. And it's not as bad as a Lamborghini. Lamborghini is basically you're sitting like this. And also a Dodge Viper is like you're sitting like that. Yes. Which is really weird. But this is, actually it feels oddly familiar. It feels natural. So yeah, I can put my left leg on the rest right here. It feels pretty good. They're also hinged. They're also hinged weirdly. So these pedals, they're hinged from the bottom instead of from the top. So you have to do this, instead of doing like this, it goes like that. It's just these little things that make the Porsche experience so wonderful.
There you go.
So I'm actually gonna move my, actually how much clutch throw is there?
It releases very high. So
okay, all right. So yeah, because me putting the clutch all the way down, I am almost hyperextending my leg.
Need to do that.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
He said he hadn't driven the car a lot in the last year or two.
Yeah.
And so he said the springs might be a little rusty. I think the clutch is just a little worn, but it's a good car.
Okay, cool. So we shall put it into first.
That's right.
That clutch, the springs is like, you let go and it's like, boop, yeah.
That's it.
Let me just try to hinge myself a little bit on the bottom here. Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
Fully
Okay.
acclimated now.
Bam. Like a baby taking the water. So this is a little bit different than any of your other cars. This is not a S-Class or a CL. This is a race pedigree 911 RS tribute car. Does this have aftermarket suspension?
Yes. The Bilstein PSS 9s.
There we go. Ugh. There we go.
It's got a short shifter in it. It's kind of notchy, but I like it.
Oh yeah. So that air-cooled engine is unlike any other engine note that I've ever heard. And what's really good about it is when you give it a little bit of rev, like when you give it some throttle, you hear that.
Oh, it's alerted you that I think one of the padware sensors line cracked, so it tells you, I like this, it has an exclamation point, but once you've been alarmed,
Oh no!
you just press this button and it turns it off. It still tells you that you got a brake wear sensor out, but the pads are fine, so don't be alarmed. You've been alarmed.
What I like about these cars is you'd think that they're like dainty, but they're not. Like you can really manhandle them and they'll take it.
And it's a very pleasant car to be in. It feels very proper.
Yes. Yes, I 100% agree with that. And the AC is very nice.
Yeah, very functional.
Yes. So let's see what rear engine car. Just give it a little bit of
Spin.
so, whoa! Oh, that's great. Yep, there we go. That's a gear. Is real nice. Real nice. That puts a smile on your face every single time. It revs pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I mean that tax snapped pretty quickly. God, at 4,000 RPM, it just really kind of gets a nice little throaty growl, doesn't it? So I'm gonna try a little bit of a downshift. You have to catch it right when it gets to that the RPM, because if you don't, just does this.
Yeah, it's up and down fast as it wants to.
I feel like I need one of these cars.
Yeah, I know it. Like I wasn't looking for one, but obviously I found it a good deal, and I really enjoy the heck out of the thing. It's just...
So for 35 grand, I mean, what can you get for 35 grand? You can probably get, you can probably spec one of those Ford Focuses for like 35 grand.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Get a titanium edition with CVT or whatever. Or you can buy this. And one thing I really, really love about this car is, and this is about most old cars, you have a tiny dashboard. It's not like 5 miles until you can actually touch the window. This is, everything's right in front of you. The greenhouse is amazing. There's really good visibility out here. And if you look out your window, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but you see this awesome wheel arch with the whale tail just kind of protruding a little bit, and it's just the best. And that engine, it's just ticking away. It feels sort of very old school. There's something
very mechanical.
Yeah, very mechanical about it.
And I love it. Like the only thing it has, it's got power windows.
Yeah.
And apart from that, everything's mechanical. There's no power seats.
Yeah, I mean, there's no electric assist or whatever. There's no traction control.
No.
It has air conditioning, which is, I think it's just enough of the stuff that you need.
Yes.
And it sounds like a sewing machine back there. There's a little like a...
And all 964 and 993s, they all leak oil like crazy.
Yeah.
And this motor is completely dry. It's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a extra little incentive. But for 35 grand, I mean, So a normal one, like, because you got one that was an outlier.
Right.
A normal one would cost about how much?
I got an offer of 55 grand on it, so I mean, I figure that's about what it's worth. I figure you can probably find another similar car for something like that.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to get like a fire damage one for, you know, from eBay for like half of that price, you think that's think it's worth saving?
Do it. Absolutely. Fire damage is always a great thing.
Yeah. In general.
But there's something about a 911.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a 944 turbo for a little while, and then I had that roof RT12S. That
Yes.
was kind of a nightmare, but they're just proper and tons of fun. And unlike a lot of other cars, there's nothing on it that is absolutely going to bankrupt you. There's tons of people to help with anything you need. Everything's been done, so it's not a terribly scary car to own.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard anybody say anything like 911 is a money pit or anything like that, unless it's been like extensively modified. Right?
IMS bearings on the 996 cars, certainly, stuff like that. That's
yeah, but those are well-known problems that you can definitely account for.
Correct.
It's not an unknown.
Yeah,
like with a Maserati, you know, it'll definitely, like, that's a money pit. You never know what's going to break with that. But here it's like, the engine is probably going to be okay, the gearbox is probably going to be okay, and everything else you can, you know, if it goes, then it's, you know how much things cost.
Exactly.
So I wish I had this on a track. I mean, this thing would be freaking awesome.
Come back next year, we'll have the private VinWiki test track built.
Sure. Is that going to be in your garage?
Yeah, probably so.
Okay, good.
Old Mario Kart style.
Awesome. Well, this was one hell of an experience, and I appreciate it very, very much. I definitely want to get one of these things. I would urge anybody looking for a Porsche to get something a little modern, but not too modern. So this is the last iteration of the air-cooled, right?
It is. Yep.
So I would say that air-cooled definitely has a place in the heart of any gearhead, and I think this is a very, very good example. You did good, son. So thank you very much. Everybody watching, you can definitely follow Ed on his VinWiki channel. Check that out. All the links will be in the description below. And check out one of his shirts, watch one of his videos, and leave a like if you like the car. I definitely do. Well, I think that may have spoiled me, and I think I'm gonna need to buy a Porsche now. So I am going to go online and see what I can find, and hopefully I don't make a very big, very expensive mistake. But something tells me I'm going to do it anyway. But this is going to be the end of the episode. I had a lot of fun. I want to thank Ed Bolian, Mr. VinWiki. Go check out his channel. Everything's going to be in the link in the description below. He has awesome car stories on his channel, and I was actually in some of the car stories. Take a look at his channel. Make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and also do the same for my channel if you like this video. So if you'd like to contact me, you can do so at The Real Tavarish. That's Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/AskTavarish and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email, and I read every single one. If you'd like to buy one of these shirts that says I'm the warranty, I have other ones up there as well. You can do so at the Teespring link down below. And remember that every single shirt sale, all the profits go directly to charity at the end of every month, so it goes to a good cause and you get a cool shirt. But until next time, this is me telling you that on cars like that awesome Porsche that I just drove, you guys need to wrench every day.